Section 4 of Write It Right. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Paul Williams. Write It Right by Ambrose Bierce. Section 4. Kind of a for kind of. He was that kind of a man. Say, that kind of man. Man here is generic, and a genus comprises many kinds, but there cannot be more than one kind of one thing. Kind of followed by an adjective, as kind of good, is almost too gross for censure. Landed estate for property in land. Dreadful. Last and past. Last week. The past week. Neither is accurate. A week cannot be the last if another is already begun, and all weeks except this one are past. Here two wrongs seem to make a right. We can say the week last past, but will we? I trow not. Later on. On is redundant. Say later. Laundry, meaning a place where clothing is washed. This word cannot mean also clothing sent there to be washed. Lay, to place, for lie, to recline. The ship lays on her side. A more common error is made in the past tense, as he laid down on the grass. The confusion comes of the identity of a present tense of the transitive verb to lay and the past tense of the intransitive verb to lie. Leading question. A leading question is not necessarily an important one. It is one that is so framed as to suggest or to lead to the answer desired. Few others than lawyers use the term correctly. Lease. To say of a man that he leases certain premises leaves it doubtful whether he is the lessor or the lessee. Being ambiguous, the word should be used with caution. Leave for go away. He left yesterday. Leave is a transitive verb. Name the place of departure. Leave for let. Leave it alone. By this many persons mean not that it is to be left in solitude, but that it is to be untouched or unmolested. Lengthways for lengthwise. Lengthy, usually said in disparagement of some wearisome discourse. It is no better than breadthy or thicknessy. Leniency for lenity. The words are synonymous, but the latter is the better. Less for fewer. The regiment had less than 500 men. Less relates to quantity, fewer to number. Limited for small, inadequate, etc. The Army's operations were confined to a limited area. We had a limited supply of food. A large area and an adequate supply would also be limited. Everything that we know about is limited. Liable for likely. Man is liable to err. Man is not liable to err, but to error. Liable should be followed not by an infinitive, but by a preposition. Like for as or as if. The matter is now like it was. The house looked like it would fall. Likely for probably. He will likely be elected. If likely is thought the better word, and in most cases it is, put it this way: it is likely that he will be elected, or he is likely to be elected. Line for kind or class. This line of goods. Leave the word to salesladies and salesgentlemen. that line of business. Say, that business. Literally for figuratively. The stream was literally alive with fish. His eloquence literally swept the audience from its feet. It is bad enough to exaggerate, but to affirm the truth of the exaggeration is intolerable. Loan for lend. I loaned him $10. We lend, but the act of lending, or less literally, the thing lent, is a loan. Locate. After many removals, the family located at Smithville. Some dictionaries give locate as an intransitive verb having that meaning, but, well, dictionaries are funny. Lots, or a lot, for much or many. Lots of things. A lot of talk. Love for like. I love to travel. I love apples. Keep the stronger word for a stronger feeling. Lunch for luncheon, but do not use luncheon as a verb. Mad for angry. An Americanism of less prevalence. It is probable that anger is a kind of madness, insanity, but that is not what the misusers of the word mad mean to affirm. Maintain for contend. The senator maintained that the tariff was iniquitous. He maintained it only if he proved it. Majority for plurality. Concerning votes cast in an election, a majority is more than half the total. A plurality is the excess of one candidate's votes over another's. Commonly the votes compared are those for the successful candidate and those for his most nearly successful competitor. Make for earn. He makes $50 a month by manual labor. Mansion for dwelling, or house. Usually mere hyperbole, a lamentable fault of our national literature. Even our presidents, before Roosevelt, called their dwelling the executive mansion. Masculine for male. See feminine. Mend for repair. They mended the road. To mend is to repair, but to repair is not always to mend. A stocking is mended, a road repaired. Meet for meeting. This belongs to the language of sport, which persons of sense do not write, nor read. Militate. Negligence militates against success. If militate meant anything, it would mean fight, but there is no such word. Mind for obey. This is a reasonless extension of one legitimate meaning of mind, namely, to heed, to give attention. Minus for lacking or without. After the battle he was minus an ear. It is better in serious composition to avoid such alien words as have vernacular equivalents. Mistaken for mistake. You are mistaken. For whom? Say, you mistake. Monarch for king, emperor, or sovereign. Not only hyperbolical, but inaccurate. There is not a monarch in Christendom. Moneyed for wealthy. The moneyed men of New York. One might as sensibly say the cattled men of Texas, or the lobstered men of the fish market. Most for almost. The apples are most all gone. The returning travelers were most home. Moved for removed. The family has moved to another house. The Joneses were moving. Mutual. By this word we express a reciprocal relation. It implies exchange, a giving and taking, not a mere possessing in common. There can be a mutual affection, a mutual hatred, but not a mutual friend, nor a mutual horse.